everyone, welcome back to RTS and welcome to a new series here at RTS. And so what are we going to do? Well, today is the day we're going to start our go-to design series. Yes, we've been talking about it for a few weeks, and so here we go. We're going to get started. Now I want to give a couple disclaimers right off the bat, and I won't talk about them again. And one of them is I have no time requirement as for how short or long these videos will be. We're just going to go, share, learn, have fun, and play with paper. Yes. And then also too, the second disclaimer is that I do not take credit for anything that I share or do on this channel, because I have been scrapbooking a long time, 23 years. So I absolutely can't take credit for anything, because I have learned so much from so many other people. And in this hobby, we share, and we share. And so I don't want anybody to think any of these are my ideas. It's just what we learn over the years. And in my case, 23 of them. Yes, so I don't want anybody to think that these go-to designs are mine. No, because I feel in this hobby that you really can't have a trademark on anything, because you get inspired by other people, and you know what I'm talking about. So I just want to throw that out there. I don't want anybody to think I'm taking credit for anything, because I don't take credit for anything. Okay, so those are the two disclaimers. The other disclaimers are that we're just going to have fun. Yes, we're going to have fun. Now, along with that, in our series, which will be about a couple weeks, there will be a holiday. Yes, Thanksgiving, Turkey Day. And so we're just going to keep on going through. Okay, we're not going to stop and start for anything. But we're going to have some go-to designs along with some turkey and some pumpkin pie. How's that? Sounds good to me. Okay, so when I think that's all I wanted to say about this go-to designs, other than how will this series be set up? Well, I'm going to be playing with two collections in this go-to designs, and I mean as far as the playing around with go-to designs. So what we're going to do is one day we're going to talk about a go-to design, and then the following day we're going to do a start to finish using the previous day's go-to design. And so within that go-to design that we talk about, I'm going to show about 8 to 10 different variations, and so to give more ideas on a go-to design, and then also too some layout samples. Yes, how fun is that? You just can't get any better. No. Okay, so now let's talk about a go-to design. What is a go-to design, and the type we're going to talk about, and then we're going to get cracking. Yes. Okay, now this is all going to be informal, so I don't want us to keep stopping and starting. Okay, so if you are new to scrapbooking, or you've been scrapbooking a long time, when I say sketches, most people know what I'm talking about. But if you're new to scrapbooking, sketches are simply a springboard, and it is a tool and a resource you can use because someone already gave you the basic background design to use on your layout. Now, I had taught many classes over the years, and I will tell you that a lot of people, and still to this day, feel that using sketches is cheating. No, and no, they are not. There are some people in this hobby that are very talented and creative when it comes to making sketches, and that is what they love. That is their gig. So if people love to create sketches, then just use it as a tool. It's no different than a punch or an idea book. It's no different. Okay, it's not cheating. It's absolutely, that's what they're designed for. So I know that, say for example, Becky Fleck, Laura Whitaker, and Scrapbook Generations, they are known for sketches, so why not use them? Okay, and I will tell you, over the years, using sketches has increased my productivity, and I create a lot more layouts because of using sketches. Now, what are sketches? They're basically go-to designs, what we're going to talk about in this series, but they're just simply different configurations of about 6 to 7 basic go-to designs, and so we're going to go over them. And so once you know these go-to designs and you have them in your memory bank, you'll be looking at sketches and you'll say, oh, that's a block, oh, that's a horizontal, oh, that's an L design, or that's a banner, that's a strip. And so that's what we're going to talk about. When you take away some of the embellishments and your photos and things like that, and you go to the bare bones of sketches, that is a go-to design. And so that is what sketch creators do. They use those go-to designs and they come up with different variations and configurations, and that is where sketches come from. Yes, absolutely. But we're going to go to the bare bones of things, and we're going to talk about them, and then you're going to have them in your memory bank. But you know me, I'm going to take it a step further, and I'm going to give you other ideas so that you don't have to rely on sketches, because there are some days you want to sit down and create. This is a wonderful sketchbook by Scrapbook Generations. You want to sit down and create, but you don't want to reinvent the wheel. So having a go-to, and I'll today we're going to talk about my go-to design, my favorite go-to, the one I always go to. Okay, and that's why we call them a go-to design, because you go to it when you sit and you don't want to think. That is what you do, okay? Because some sketches, you will actually have measurements. Some you'll actually have in the actual size. Some you have to pare down. So it's one of those things. Go-to designs are just things you have in your memory bank. Okay, so you could honestly think of a go-to design as that little black dress. Scrapbooking when it comes to ideas. It's that dress that you go to, that sweater, that pair of sneakers, that favorite stuffed animal even, that you go to when, you know, it just makes you feel comfortable. And so that's what we're going to talk about. Now within this series, I think I'm going to be talking about 5 or 6. I don't know where I've stopped it yet, but we're going to talk about my favorite go-to design, the Happy Horizontal. And yes, I gave it that name. And also the grid, the band, the L design, the banner, the strip, the block, the diagonal. Yeah, and I might even combine a couple, okay? So I just don't know where we may stop, but I am not going to be in a hurry, okay? We're going to take our time and have fun, okay? So now let's get cracking on the first go-to design, and I probably will pause there and I will come back because I do want to do this in segments, okay? So I will be right back, and we're going to get cracking on the very first one of our go-to designs, my go-to design, okay? And it's the easiest one. You will be so amazed how easy it is, okay? So grab some paper, come along for the ride. Okay, so now let's get to playing. Yes. Now I want to say, when I talk about these go-to designs, whatever I show is also, whether it's a 1-page or 2-page, it makes no difference whatsoever, because I know there are some people who only do 2 by 2. Yes, 2 by 2s. Only do 2-page layouts, and that's okay, because whatever I show, you're just going to replicate on the right. Not hard to do. And also I will show some examples too. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about is Happy Horizontal, and I'm going to show a layout here to show what a Happy Horizontal is. And then also with this Happy Horizontal, I have seen it called the equator, the railroad design, or the highway design, and I've always over the years just called it my go-to design because it is so simple, so very simple, and I am going to call it Happy Horizontal for the series, but it's been called different names, okay? That's why I'm saying on that I can't take credit for anything. It's been called a lot of different things, but what I call it is, yes, I call it my favorite. Okay, so what is a Happy Horizontal? It is simply taking a 12 by 12 piece of paper and dividing it in half. You're using the A side, the B side, put something in the seam, and bing, bang, boom, you have a page. That is how simple this go-to design is. I told you it's simple. Okay, and we're going to talk about that. But this is a layout sample of how simple. Now, take away my embellishments, take away my photos, my beautiful little girl, take away, and my journaling, and what do you have? I have one piece of paper cut in half, 6 by 12 here, a 6 by 12 here, and I have a border sticker in the middle, and that is a go-to design. But we're going to talk about different variations of that, okay? So I'm going to play with this Creative Agenda by Echo Park for the actual playing around with go-to designs. And then tomorrow I'm going to do a start to finish layout, but I don't know what I'll be playing with because I'm going to still work with my load prompts, but it won't be with this collection. Well, maybe, I don't know. I don't know what things will take me, but let's get started. So let's pick out a piece of paper. Now, some of you may have seen a little sneak peek of this when we were had a Scrap Smarter session by the ScrapHappy membership. I'll have that information listed below. But let's find some pretty paper. Of course, I already used the floral, but I'll bring that back out in a minute. Oh, these bubbles are nice. These dots. This is just a pretty collection. Okay. Remember when Echo Park used to have manufacturers on one side? Yes, and cut aparts. Yes. Yeah. Oh, I tell you, I wish some companies would go back to the way they used to do things, but I'll get off my soapbox. Yes. Okay. Let's try. I'm just playing, figuring out, hey, maybe this will show up. Anybody want to see a certain thing? I like the floral, you know. Okay, let's try this. Or what's on the back of this? Oh, this is fun. Okay, let's do this. We're going to do circles, you know. Yes, okay. So, a go-to design in its simplest form. And I'm actually going to break out my trimmer and we're going to play and have fun. Okay. And I just put in a new blade, so we should be good. But it may be popping off. I'm having a little bit of issue here with my trimmer. So, of course, I'm going to cut off my branding strip. Because that's what we all do. Yes. Okay. And I was saying this in a previous video. And this is a prime example. Honest to goodness, here we go. When you take this paper and you go to 12 inches, I'm telling you what, sometimes this border strip, this branding strip, yeah, that doesn't meet up. You know, every manufacturer is different when it comes to that, so you can't always go by that branding strip. Okay, now this creative agenda came out in 2014, if anybody was interested. Okay, so we have a simple 12 by 12 piece of paper. And so what is the happy horizontal? It is one cut and one cut only. And this is the most simplest thing. You're going to cut it as 6 inches. And that means you will now have 2 6 by 12, and there is a happy horizontal. Yes. Now, let's talk about this. And so the reason why I think this is so so well used and so well loved is because if you're buying a piece of paper, not in a collection kit, but say if you're buying papers, and a lot of us do, we buy papers that are 99 cents a sheet. And so what you can do then is you can cut that 12 by 12 piece of paper in half. Then you get both designs for that 99 cents. That's how you stretch a buck. Yes, absolutely. So then what you do is you have the 6 by 12, and then you have a seam. And you know, if you take in my 4 for 4 series, you know what we're going to do. We're going to break out some border stickers, and we're going to break out washi and ribbon, and we're going to talk about a lot of different things. And so this is the happy horizontal. 2 6 by 12 piece of paper with a seam, and then you add a border sticker. And that is your happy horizontal. Now, some of you will be saying, but what do you adhere this to? There's no background. So if you want to, you can do this in 2 different ways. You can absolutely make sure this is butted up against each other right here at the seam that you cut. And then you would take washi, or you would take some ribbon or a border sticker. This is pretty navy. Oh, we don't get enough navy. And you can absolutely, well, what you can do is flip this over. And where these met up. Oh, you can do it that way either. Any which way you want to. You can take some washi tape and you can tape that together. And we'll just do that because we're just going to play. Okay? And you could absolutely, and I would take a little bit more time. And you could just mat, you know, in the back. Okay? Which the front's going to look like the back. Okay? You could take a piece of washi and you would just seam them together quickly. And there is your page, okay? And so then you don't need a background, okay? But I will tell you, sometimes it depends on how many photos and the type of embellishments. I always suggest a background piece, even if you're going to wallpaper it. And we're going to talk about all that. So this is the happy horizontal in the most original and easiest format right there. A 12 by 12 cut in half. That's your happy horizontal. That never gets old because just look at this collection. You could take any one of these, cut them in half. There's a layout. That's a sticker sheet. Okay, that's the fun stuff. Okay, now this is kind of hard because on the back is cut aparts. Okay, but on this one, you take this, cut it in half. Right there's 2 designs, and there's your page. That is the happy horizontal. Okay, and I have some cardstock here because then you simply don't have to have cardstock. I'm getting things everywhere. Yeah. You do not have to have cardstock to use as a background, but I highly suggest it because these papers nowadays are not as heavy as they used to be. So, excuse me. So what I would do, and of course I didn't bring a drink. Lord, Lord, Lord. I'm so sorry. So what you would do is you would take a piece of cardstock and you would simply wallpaper this piece of paper. So you're doing exactly what I just showed, but now you have some stability. You have this cardstock. But if you are like me, and I'm sure some of you are shaking your head and going to know what I'm going to say. If you're like me, I don't want to use my basil cardstock to back something. So what do? I'll show you exactly what I do. Is that you could use some cardstock, because, you know, remind yourself, you're not going to see this. You could absolutely take some cardstock that you don't like, okay? Or maybe some cardstock that has faded. Yes, that has happened to me, true story. And then you could, again, you're just going to wallpaper. You know, make sure it meets up, and so you don't see the orange. Again, you would meet this up. You're not going to see the orange, okay? Okay? You see how you cut something is never 12 by 12. Okay, and then don't worry about this because you're going to cover this up. Just make sure you wallpaper the top and the bottom, and then we're going to cover up that seam, okay? Because I don't want to use my cardstock, okay? Or, I'm telling you, I just pulled everything out and I lost everything. Here we go. Or what you can do is that in my paper category group, I have some papers that I know I will never use, so I will end up using the back. Okay, and so this is the type of paper I use when I'm doing something like this, Happy Horizontal. I will simply wallpaper the back of this, and I would use something to cover up that seam. Okay, so that is the Happy Horizontal in the original, easiest sense. Okay, but we're going to keep on playing. Yes, okay. Now I will use a piece of basil cardstock because I think it's more pleasing to the eye on film. Yes, okay, so with this Happy Horizontal, okay, we've got our 6 by 12 up here, 6 by 12 here. Now, if you don't like that orientation, what are you going to do? Well, you simply just flip it, okay? So there you can have two different designs with one piece of paper. Just in the matter if you change the top to the bottom, okay? Again, a border sticker is the easiest way. I mean, you just stick and go, right? Peel and go. And so that is how simple that is. Or you can also use, let me get something that shows up. Washi, okay, and we all have it, might as well use it, and you just cover up that seam. Now of course I would be straight on that, yes, and then you could do that, okay, and then the other option would be to use ribbon, okay. Now when I use ribbon, I'm just going to show it right now because I'm not in a hurry. I'm going to show right now is that I use score tape, okay. And I actually kept the packaging here so I could show. And I'll have a link below. I actually use score tape. I have found out over the years that is the best thing for adhering ribbon, in my opinion. I have always liked that. So, of course, I'm going to wallpaper. And remember, I haven't done anything to this 12 by 12 piece of paper but one thing. I cut it in half. And then at this seam, I would take my score tape. Of course, you know, I would make sure it's absolutely square. And then I would take my score tape after this is adhered, and I would actually take my score tape to the paper, and then that's when I take my ribbon, okay? I don't put my score tape on the ribbon and then adhere it. I take my score tape to the paper and then adhere my ribbon, just like that. Isn't that pretty, pretty? Love that. Oh, I love color. Isn't that pretty? So just with that one 12 by 12 piece of paper, we cut it in half. You could do it this way, or you could do it that way, okay? That's two different looks. And then you could have did ribbon, you could have did a border sticker, or you could have did washi, or you could do a combination of all three, which we're going to talk about that. And then you also could simply take some scraps and you could cut a little piece of paper and you cover that up. So that's 4 different things you could use to cover up that seam. You could use anything to cover up that seam. Okay, so then what I love about the Happy Horizontal, because not only is this quick, easy, and fun, then what you have on the left, that would be your 2-page right there. You just do the same thing, okay? Now also, with this Happy Horizontal, the best thing is that you can simply make one turn, and now you have it in a vertical sense. Oh, and then you just do exactly what we just did. Again, you would use a border sticker, or you could use ribbon, okay? Okay, beautiful, beautiful. And then let's just get crazy, okay? And then let's just do some, let's do washi. Oh, I had this blue, yeah. So right there's all 3. You could do a combination of 1, 2, or 3. I mean, and you're just making your design bigger and bigger and bigger. Absolutely. That is how easy that can be. Okay, so I think I pretty much covered one cut, and you can get a lot of possibilities, but you know, I'm not done. No, we're going to have more. Okay, so that is one cut. Now, what are you going to do next? The next thing you could do is bring your trimmer, and we're going to cut a little bit off of each one of these pieces of paper. So I'm going to cut off about 3/4, okay, on each one, and you can keep these, you know, use them as embellishments, use them as cluster bases. Okay, I'm going to cut off 3/4. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, again, we're still dealing with that one piece of paper. That's it, one piece of paper to do a layout. Or if you're a 2-page gal, you know, 2 pieces of paper. So what we're going to do is we are simply going to do the same thing we just did, but now look what we did. Now we created a mat. Okay, now there's the design from that same 6x12 cut. Okay, so now you have a different design. Instead of wallpapering the entire background, we now have a mat around our design. Okay, and then again, you follow up with what we just said. You could cover up that seam with the washi or the ribbon or the border sticker or just a paper scrap. Okay, that is how simple. Okay, now let's just get crazy and do something else. Okay, I mean, I'm not even going to count the ways how many times to do this. So this is very simplistic, but now let's just dress it up a little bit. So what you can do is, you know, of course, if I don't want it this way, I could put the yellow on top. Okay, so right there's 2, or then I can go vertical. Okay, honestly, you can't go wrong. Now I don't know which I like. I kind of like that yellow at the top. I don't know, what do you like? I like this. This says focus camera. Yeah, okay, let's try it with the yellow at the top. And then we're simply going to do is I'm going to take my corner rounder and I am going to give the addition of some rounded corners, again, still using that one piece of paper. So here's another look. Okay, and now you could do that with just the top or just the bottom, or you could do the corner rounder on all 4. It all depends on what you want. And then you simply could take this 12-inch and extend it. And oh, just look at that. Just look at that. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and round the corners on the bottom. Okay, because I have lots of paper, we can just keep playing. Now look at that. That gives you another look. Yes. Again, I love doing this design right here, this happy horizontal. And then I love taking a 12-inch border sticker. Now this is not a 12-inch. Let me get a 12-inch. This is Bella Boulevard. I love Bella Boulevard border stickers because they are a true 12-inch. Okay? Look at that. That's still just that one piece of paper with just a different variation. Of course, you know, you could have the yellow on the top, or you could come and however you want to change your design, you do it the same way. Oh, I just did that, didn't I? I guess I have the rounded corners. That's the way it's going to be. And then what you can do then, of course, then also put it in a vertical sense. So you could absolutely do the left page this way. And then for a fun twist, you can come and do the right page if you're a 2-page gal and do it in a vertical sense. So you're still getting the same design, but you're just putting in a different configuration. Very, very fun. Okay, now let's play some more with these pieces of paper that I had cut down, because honestly what you can do then is, let's just get another piece of paper. Yes, let's get another piece of paper. Let's play with, oh, this is pretty, isn't it? Yes, that navy. Let's go with that. Okay, let's do that. And so I will get my trimmer here. Now I'm playing with a collection, but you know, certainly please know that you can absolutely use anything that you have in your stash, your collection, or your inventory. Just cut them in a 6x12 piece of paper. You can even use scraps, just if they're in that 6x12. And then you're going to see down the road, they don't even need to be 6x12. Oh, we're really going to get crazy then. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to take this 12x12 piece of paper. And again, I'm making sure I do not go by this branding strip. You see where that white meets with the navy? No, I don't trust the manufacturers. No, I trust my trimmer more. Yeah, that's what I do. See? It cuts some of that off. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to cut this in that 6x12 because that's what we're playing with. The happy horizontal. Yes. And again, like I said, some people have called it the railroad, the equator, the highway, the interstate. I've even seen people call it the interstate, but you can call it anything you want. Okay, so then of course with this 6x12 in this format, you can take these 2 pieces of paper and, you know, like I said, you can wallpaper them. But then you also have the option that you can take these 6x12 and you can overlap them as little or as big as you want, okay? So again, you could cover up the seam or not cover up the seam because you're not going to really have a gap. You don't even have to do it on this version. And then you could come up here, put your title down here, and then you have a little bit of space down here. Or then you also can go as big as a header or as small as a footer you want, okay? You can absolutely, and just keep playing with that one piece of paper cut in half. I mean, happy horizontal, yes, makes me happy, yes. And so you see how now this header is bigger, this footer is smaller. You could come up here and put your title and your journaling and just have fun. And then the best part is vertical, yes. You do the same thing. You just keep playing with the 6 by 12, okay? And then you can move these pieces to the left, to the right. Oh, yes. I mean, look at that. Now, of course, when you're doing something like this, you can cut some of this here and conserve that paper. But when I'm doing a fast go-to page, that is no concern of mine. I'm working on a page, okay? And so, again, look at that. Pretty, pretty. And we're still dealing with that one piece of paper. Okay, so that is that. And then, of course, you know, when you trim that down, like I had showed, you know, you even get more options. Okay. So now let me look at my notes here. And of course, like I said, whatever you're showing, whatever I'm showing for this layout, remember, if you're a 2-page gal, you can do the same thing. So for a 2-page gal, you would simply, this would be your left, and then if you wanted to, see how this navy is up here at the top? Okay, if you wanted to, for a different variation, for a 2-page, then you would come here, and then your right side would be the flip side. So your navy would be down here at the bottom. Okay, that's providing you had 2 pieces of that paper, because remember, we cut that in half. But you don't have to have a collection to do that. You can, I'm just showing that, for example. Okay, and so then if you're a 2-page gal, you simply can do something like this. Okay, and then this would be your left, and then you would come over here, and that would be your right-hand page. And that's really just one piece of paper cut in half. It doesn't get any easier and doesn't get any better. Okay, so then, of course, you know, when you're playing with these 6 by 12 pieces of paper, remember, you can, again, use your border stickers in conjunction with your ribbon. Okay, I have some orange ribbon here. And then you can also use washi, okay? And you can just keep on playing. You could absolutely do a border sticker here, here, and here, or you could do ribbon here. I have a gnat flying. And then a ribbon here. Oh, it wasn't that pretty. That orange on top of that. Love that. Okay, I'm just going to leave that there. Yeah, let's get some up here. Let's play with some more washi. So when you see something like this, in your brain, you're thinking, boy, that's a complicated design. No, that's just paper cut 6 by 12. That's all it is, simply. And then, of course, I'm going to see if I can move this. Let me just tear that. Let me see if I can move this. And look at this. Is this not a pretty 2-page design? Oh, there's a gnat. Yuck. Okay. Moving on, folks. Okay, so this would be your left, okay? And you could flush this clear to the inseam if you wanted to. And then, look at that. That would be your left-hand side. Now, of course, everything would be square and neat, okay? That would, if you're a 2-page gal. And then you could come over here, and you would just rotate that, and that is your right-hand page of your 2-page spread. And again, we just cut that paper in half. We're just playing with it, honestly. And then we use things like ribbon, washi, and border stickers, border strips. We all have a lot of them. Okay. So now, let's see, what else? I'm looking at my notes. Okay, so when I showed this happy horizontal, the one thing I want to make sure that I definitely show is that you can go as up, you can go up and down as much as you want. Okay, just like this. Or you can go left to right as much as you would. Just keep playing with them. And sometimes it depends on, and I have some photo squares here. It depends on, pretend these are photos. It depends on your layout and what photos you want to do, okay? So something like this happy horizontal where I have a little bit of a header, a little bit of a footer, right there is 2 photos. You can put your title here, journaling here, a little bit of a cluster, that's done. Or, again, on the vertical sense, you can do 2 photos here, absolutely. And you can even get a 3rd photo on there if you wish to. You see what I'm saying? So many designs, and all we did was take one piece of paper and cut it in half. That is how simple it is. Okay, so I think what I'll do is now we're going to talk about a double mat. And so what is that? Well, let's get another piece of paper. Okay, let's get something from this collection that is a little bit more of, okay, yeah, here we go. This isn't so busy, okay? It's a tone-on-tone paper. Now, someone asked me recently, what is a tone-on-tone paper? A tone on tone paper is like pink on pink, blue on blue, that type of thing. Okay, you just see one color, but it's different tones. So this is a light pink tone over a medium pink tone. Okay, so now let's do some more playing. Okay, love those together just like that. Okay, so with a happy horizontal, of course, I'm going to cut that branding strip off. Like that. We are going to do the happy horizontal, and we are going to do a double mat. And what would be a double mat? Okay, so of course, you know, this is 12 by 12. My background in this white is 12 by 12. But what I can do is I can come here, and I could take off maybe not quite a half. I'm going to say anything, I'm going to do between a fourth and a half. What is that? I don't know. I just know I use the marks on my trimmer. Okay. So what we're going to do, and hopefully my trimmer won't fall, is that we're going to have a mat with a mat. Okay. Isn't that just pretty? Oh, yes. And then we're going to do our horizontal just like that. Okay. Now, if you want to see this outside mat, what you simply could do, and I already have some other papers that I had used, is that you could cut down those papers. Okay, remember how we cut down those papers? Of course, I was using this in one of my other videos. So then you would take that mat, cut it down, have a double mat, and then you take your happy horizontal and you could do the same thing. You could keep playing and playing. And let me just round the corners on this pink one. Why not? Okay. And see, I have a very, very thin pink mat. Now, some people would say, well, that's not a very good use of paper. You certainly could gut the middle if you want to, but when you're doing a happy horizontal, you're going to a go-to design, I don't worry about that at all. I have plenty of paper. I don't think any paper in my inventory is going to have a strike anytime soon. No. Okay, so that is that happy horizontal cut down, and then I rounded the corners, and then I put another mat on top of a mat. So again, let me get something pretty. Ooh. How about this washi, you know? And so then that gives you another look with this go-to design. Now, of course, that's using 2 pieces of paper, but that's the fun part of scrapbooking. And then you can do whatever you want to do for that seam or not do anything for that seam. So, we just cut it down, did the rounded corners, and then we did a double mat. Okay, now, what we're going to talk about, of course, that's the horizontal, but then you know what I'm going to do? Let me see if I can keep this all together here. Right there's your vertical. So again, we have a mat with a mat. Now, of course, I'd make sure my directional piece of paper, the print is going in the design, in the direction I want. So look how pretty that is. Yes. I mean, oh, I could just start playing with that right now. Yes. Okay, let's get some photos. And that makes for a pretty 2-page. So what you're doing is you're just taking that happy horizontal and you're just dressing it up a bit. Okay. So again, you could do some photos here. I always like to see my seam, because I'm always putting something pretty there. Okay, and that would be your left. And then on your right, say it's the same background, you could absolutely do 4 photos. Look at that. Oh, let's do it this way. We could do 4 photos. Look at that. Oh, yes. Yes. Very, very pretty. That's 7 photos. Yes, put your title over here, journaling over there, some clusters. Okay, so that's a double mat. Now let's talk about the offset method. And then I think I'll take a break, and then we're going to come back and start getting out a few tools to dress this up, this happy horizontal up even more. Yes, okay. So the offset method, and I'll just play with some more paper. We'll just leave that there. Okay. Let's get another piece of paper. Yes. What else could we pull here? I just love sitting and playing with paper. Ooh. Oh, these bubbles are pretty. Oh, well, that's a different colored B-side. Oh, these arrows are pretty. Oh, let's play with that. Okay. So let's do the offset method. And we'll do the offset method with a mat. Okay. So what we're going to do is, again, take this branding strip off. Okay. And then I'm going to do what? I'm going to cut that in half. The happy horizontal doesn't get any easier than that right there. Yes. And then again, just cover up the seam, cut it down, add some rounded corners, add a mat, and now we're going to do the offset method. Okay, so the offset method is simply, let me cut a little bit of this off. Let me cut it down to 10 inches. Okay, so I'm going to cut my 6 by 12 to a 6 by 10. Okay, and of course I don't want to cut into that. And again, you would keep these, use them for embellishment clusters, play. Okay, so then again, what we're going to do is we're going to, that trimmer's going to get the work out. We're going to do what is called the offset method. And of course, there are my arrows. And so we're taking the 6 by 12 and then we're taking the offset, meaning we're shifting it, and it's called the offset. And so it's not centered in the middle, which nothing wrong with that right there. Oh, look at that. Oh, yes. Now that is my 6 by 12 cut down to a 6 by 10. So that just is what I just showed. It's just a bigger mat. So there's another option. I didn't even plan for that. So there you go. Your 6 by 12s are now 6 by 10s. That's a good use of a scrap right there. 6 by 10, 6 by 10 on top of a 12 by 12 cardstock. Put a border sticker in the middle. Bing, bang, boom. Yes. Okay, now the offset is when you take something and you're flushing it clear to either this seam here on the right or either here on the seam. And it makes no difference which one. Now I'm left-handed, so I basically shift everything over here. Okay, that's just the easiest for me. And again, it's the same thing we just did. You could absolutely go to clear to the top and clear to the bottom. Okay, and then, oh, do I want to show this? Yes, I will. Okay, well this, maybe this pink will show up. So this is my 6 by 10, offset it clear, wallpaper to the top to bottom, and then you would take washi. I'm getting excited. I want to sit here and play with the page. Then you can take your washi, and then that's the offset method, but that's the wallpapering, okay? So you could do that. And then also too, you could overlap these, and then you could go in the center just like that. Again, you could use a border sticker. And you could absolutely make this border sticker 10 inches too. Okay, now this is a very, very pretty 2-page design when you do this. So I'm just going to take a minute and show you that. Okay, so say I have my 6 by 10 here and my 6 by 10 here completely flushed over to this inseam. I have a border sticker here. Okay, and that's my left. And then my right hand page is exactly that, but in this format. Okay, and of course I would have my papers flipped. Okay. And so then I would take my border sticker or washi, and then what you see here is what you see there, and that makes for a very, very pretty and simple 2-page layout. Okay, now with that offset method, and like we showed before, you can make this header and this footer as big or small as you want. It doesn't matter. And then you could extend this border sticker the whole way, cut it at 10 inches, doesn't matter. And then you could also do what we just did, and you could do the corner round. I mean, it just doesn't get any easier than this. And so all I did was take my corner rounder to the top and the bottom right here and right here only, because you wouldn't need it anyplace else, because this offset method, this is going to your inseam, so you wouldn't do the corner rounder. And again, let me get something pretty. I could cut that at 10 inches. Oh, look at that. Now that again is a 1-page, or you could expand that into a 2-page. Very, very pretty. Very, very simple. Yes. Okay. Now I'm not done with this offset method. No. Okay. Now let's just see what a photo would look like. Okay. Now this is one of those designs, the offset method, where you would take your title and you would span it this way for a change. I mean, is that not pretty or what? Yes, absolutely. Okay. So let's just put some photos on here and see what this would look like. Okay. So we could put this here. Or we could put, how would we do? We could do either one, okay? And you could just play around with that, okay? And then you could absolutely expand your photos over here. You could get 3 on there if you wanted to. I would maybe do a couple wallets down here, because when I do that seam, I like to see that seam. And then again, you could put your title up here, a couple wallets down here, some journaling. Oh, pretty, pretty. This is a pretty 2-page design. Love that. Never get tired of that. Absolutely. So now let's talk about a mat with an offset. So again, this is the offset, meaning you're just flushing it over to that seam. Okay. Now, this is what I'm going to do. We're going to do an offset with a mat. Okay, so I said this was 6 by 10. And don't be afraid when you're playing with this offset method that this is a 6 by 10, but you could make it 6 by 11 and a half, 6 by 10 and a half, and just play with it. And you can take these and layer them and keep overlapping them as big or as small as you want, okay? And then I'm going to cut this down. I'd say probably 11 by 11. Let's try that. Okay, so my 2 pieces are 6 by 10. This mat is 11 by 11. And we're going to give our offset design of our happy horizontal, and we're going to give it another mat. Okay, and so what I could absolutely put that in the middle. Okay, now let me go ahead and get my corner rounder. Well, maybe not. I'm going to try this. I get more paper out, right? I don't have to worry. I have a whole collection to play with. Okay, so the offset method, again, would be what I had here, and then I would take my background, and I could offset this, and then the beauty of this is you center this part, okay? So there is my happy horizontal, and then my background mat, this orange, is now the offset, not this. This is centered in the orange. Well, it's supposed to be centered, you know, you get the idea, okay? And so then my background is, and you can change the size of these. These could be 6 by 9. This could be a 10 and a half. I have 11 by 11 there, okay? And so then you could absolutely take your corner rounder and you could round those 2 corners too. Now, when you're doing an offset with a mat, you have more options even still. You see how I took the corner rounder to all 4 of those, and then, let me get it pretty. You could take your border sticker or your ribbon or your washi, and then again, you could extend that the whole 12 inches, or you could just extend it to that 11, okay? And again, this makes a great, for a 2-page, because whatever you do here, you just absolutely flip it over and you do a right page, okay? But again, you could take the corner rounder and do that. And then, let's get some ribbon. Oh, I have some navy ribbon. Yes. Okay, so you could absolutely, and say everything's all lined up, nice and tidy. I could take my ribbon, and I simply could just put it over my happy horizontals right there, okay? Or I could extend it to and cover up this orange mat. Or I can take it and extend it clear over here, okay? I'm going to show some other options about that too coming up. I told you I have a lot of variations, okay? And so then what you can do then is with this offset method, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, great gravy. I don't know what it was. Okay, so, this is what I wanted to say. So you could take your ribbon and extend it, and then you could take a border sticker and not extend it, okay? And then you could take some washi. That won't show up. And not even extend that. You could go, I mean, look at this. Ooh, I love doing this, okay? So this ribbon would be tucked under. My border sticker, I would cut maybe 11 1/4 right there, and my washi, and so then I have a decorative element right here, and all I did was use some things to cover up that seam. I mean, how, it doesn't get any old. It doesn't get old, and it doesn't get any better. No, okay. So I think that is where I will stop for a bit, because I'm going to come back. I lost track of how many different variations. Not even going to keep a count. And I'm going to come back, and we're going to talk about some other options when we're talking about this seam, okay? So I hope that, I don't know about you, but I just want to sit here and play. Whenever I get to this type of thing, and I'm playing and creating, it just makes me want to sit here and do a story, do a page, do some photos, okay? So I will come back, and we're going to talk about some things we can play, some tools and some other things to dress up our pages. Okay, so hang on. Oh my, I lost my remote. Look, I have all this stuff. Okay, I will be back, I promise. Okay, so now let's do a recap of what we were just talking about as far as this happy horizontal. So basically, you take one piece of paper, cut it in half, and you get 2 6 by 12, and then you can either wallpaper, and you can absolutely move these up or down, and then go vertical, and then you can shift left to right. So many things you can do just with that simple cut in the middle with that 6 by 12. Now, do you have to use one piece of paper? No, you absolutely can use scraps, okay? But this is just what I showed for the video. And then also too with that, then you take that 6 by 12, and then you also would cut that down, and then you're giving yourself a mat, another design, okay? Again, a vertical or horizontal, okay? And then the other recap I showed was doing this even in a smaller format. You can even do it this way, cut these down even more, give yourself a bigger mat, or do yourself a double mat, okay? Do yourself a double mat, okay? Or then you can also do the offset method, okay? So that was just a little recap of this Happy Horizontal and how many options you can get just with a 6x12 piece of paper, okay? Love the Happy Horizontal. Now in our Happy Horizontal, and I'm going to use these 2 pieces of paper right here, I think. We're going to talk about this middle seam, okay? Now remember, you can just take 1 piece of paper, cut it in half, or you can use some scraps. Doesn't have to be all from the same collection. Can be a collection, paper pad, scraps, anything at all. I mean, I honestly could just get stuck playing with the Happy Horizontal for the rest of my life. That's the only go-to design I need, and it is my favorite. It is my favorite go-to design, yes, because it's the easiest and there's so many variations. Okay, so then along with this seam we were talking about, you can certainly cover it up with some a border sticker or a border strip, and then also 2 ribbon. You know, I have everything over here I'm playing with, yes. Now you may have some extra tidbit noise in the background. That would be my hubby. He's home, and I will tell you, whenever my hubby needs my attention, you know what he does? He rings the doorbell. Yes, so you may hear that. Oh, gotta love that man. Okay, so then there you could definitely use ribbon. Okay, and then also we talked about using washi. Okay, now that was what we were talking about, the seam, and we're going to keep on talking about this seam because now we're going to talk about different things with the seam and how you can change the look of the Happy Horizontal. So we're going to keep on playing. So again, right there was 3 things: the border stickers or border strips, you know, there's branding strips that a lot of us keep, and then ribbon and then washi, and then what else? Okay, so when we're talking about ribbon, don't be afraid to break out even wider ribbon. I mean, look at that. Beautiful. Okay, now you can absolutely take more than 1 ribbon and layer that. I mean, just let's just look at that. Isn't that not pretty? So again, when it comes to ribbon, it doesn't just have to be a thin amount to cover that seam. You can absolutely go wider, and then you can start layering. Okay, or you can absolutely take washi with ribbon, or you can do a combination of all 3 of that. Oh, yes. Do you see why I love the Happy Horizontal? It just truly, I think the possibilities are endless. And I do honestly think with our other designs, the videos probably may not be as long as this, because this is my go-to. This is my favorite. And I think you have a lot more options with this one than anything else. Okay. And then with that, and then you could even go even wider with your ribbon. Look at this. Now this may not necessarily match my mood and feel with this abstract geometrics, but you get the idea, okay? And again, this is just beautiful. Love this. You could absolutely layer that with more washi and then more ribbon and get more border stickers. I lost my end here. And you can just keep on going, keep on playing, okay? So it doesn't just have to be one thing to cover that one seam, and it doesn't have to be in just one size. And that's what I wanted to show with that. Okay, so now with that, let me move these beautiful lovelies, okay? I find these type of things in specialty shops, okay? Not scrapbooking stores. Okay, so then you also could take that washi, and you could take some scrap paper that you don't like, you know, and I use the back of that. Take your washi, and I call this a Vanessa trick because my friend Vanessa Bell, she has a YouTube channel here. I will link it below. She taught us this many years ago. And you take in your washi, you take your washi, go over that cardstock, and it gives you a bolder impact on your washi. And then what you can do with that, again, just use it as a sticker if you want, okay? Then what you can do is take that to an edge punch. Yes, and now you just took your washi and you made a border sticker. Yes, absolutely. Okay, and so I wanted to show that option because as you're pulling this out, you can also pull out a punch and get to playing, okay? So don't forget this washi. We all have a lot of washi, and there's different ways to use it. So you can absolutely put it on some cardstock that you don't like, okay? And then that the cardstock will give you the stability to take your washi through your edge punches, okay? And then you could absolutely use that, okay? I wanted to show that in this series because that is something, when Vanessa had showed us that years ago, I fell in love with my washi all over again, yes. And then also too, you know, when covering the seam, we showed the washi and the ribbon and the border stickers. You can also use simply paper scraps. Honestly, just your scraps. Pull out. You don't even have to cut into another 12 by 12 piece of paper. Just go to your scrap, your bin, and your folder and see what you have and do that. And then I wanted to show something. When you are cutting papers, this is just a little tip. Let's just keep on talking. Yes. Okay. When you're cutting papers that have an actual image, and say if you're using a sketch or anything on your design and it calls for 1 inch, but when you're getting ready to cut the paper, it may cut through an image. What I say is forget that measurement and don't cut up that image. So you see, for example, on this border strip where it says I love you, I made sure I didn't cut anything of that off. I followed this actual line when I did my cutting on my trimmer, and I think that makes for a better layout. It's just one of those little tips and tricks that I think is an added detail that takes your page to the next level, is when you absolutely don't cut through these words. You absolutely go, use your trimmer and cut underneath if they're words or images, that type of thing, when you can, okay? Because if I cut through these check marks, you would have clearly saw that. Just a little tip, a little trick I wanted to share along with that. Now, another idea I wanted to show when we're talking about this seam, specifically in the Happy Horizontal, another thing you can do is absolutely start breaking out more tools. And I had showed the washi with the edge punch. But don't forget, sometimes we have these really honking border punches and edge punches. And so that is one of those tools that you can use. I mean, do I need to say anything more? No. You can absolutely use your tools and your punches. And then also, too, we have these long dies as well. And you can take these. Now, this is just a die, not an actual image. And then you can absolutely punch or die, and then you can absolutely use that to cover up the seam. So again, what we're doing is we're taking the Happy Horizontal, and now we're getting creative. We're just not simply covering the seam. Now we are playing with the seam and having a party. Yes. So don't forget, when it comes to that seam, it doesn't just have to be boring. You can absolutely take it as simple or as complex or as creative as you want. Okay. Now let's talk about this seam even more, because I have I have ideas up the wazoo, as they say. So let's just keep talking. Okay. So now, and I think there went my trimmer. Oh, man, if you saw my mess. It's almost like you can absolutely gauge how much fun you've had by how messy your room is. Can I get an amen? Yes, absolutely. Okay, so let's play with these two papers for a change. Okay, and we're going to talk about this seam again with more ideas, okay, of this Happy Horizontal. Okay, so of course, simply, you can just use a scrap in that 12 by 12 size and play with that simply. Okay, now I'm going to use this check mark pattern paper, and I'm going to show you various ways. And again, you can move this header and have as big as you want, or this footer. I'm just kind of playing in the middle there. I just want to focus on this seam part. So again, just cut a piece of paper and bing, bang, boom, simple, okay? Or what you can do with this same piece of paper to cover the seam is that then you can start taking your horizontal, your hexagon punches or scissors and giving us a shape, okay? Because remember, we had just talked about this beautiful, look at this. Okay, now let me just back the truck up. Let's just take this scrap, because we're just playing, right? And then let's just put this edge on top of that. That is another way to do that seam. It just doesn't stop, okay? But I'm probably going to have to stop because I get too talky. Okay, and then of course you can take that strip and that pattern paper that you're using for that seam and then give it a decorative edge, okay? And so I just took my hexagon punch, or you can use scissors and give it that flag or the Bennett or the fishtail, whatever you want to call that, okay? So that's another option. And then how about making this piece of paper to cover the seam even bigger, just like we showed with the ribbon, and then break out some edge punches and then give it a decorative edge. Look at that. I took that check mark paper, I don't know if you can see it better on there, and see I just did a small scallop there. And so then again, oh yes, there we did it again. Okay, so now I'm taking the seam and I'm making this covering of the seam even bigger and then adding a decorative touch to it, using edge punches. Okay, now let's keep on going because I got 2 more. 3 more, 4 more, okay? Oh, somebody's got to stop me. I'm drinking too much caffeine. Okay, so then how about if we take this. Now, I made this piece of paper bigger just so you could see what I was showing. But how about this paper that's in the middle, and then we do paper tearing? Okay, look at that. Yes, yes, yes. And then how about taking some of your distressors? Okay, now I just use a close to my heart distressor, and if you want a close to my heart gal, Kim Ferguson is your gal, and I will have her information linked below. She is very knowledgeable when it comes close to my heart, so I'll have Kim's information listed below. And so this is just simply distressing with one of these simple little tools, or you can use a fingernail or scissors. I don't recommend that. I recommend one of these, very inexpensive. Okay, and then again, there's the paper tearing. I'm sorry, here's the paper tearing. And right here is the distressing, the distressing tool. I mean, that's another look, okay? Now, how about if we break out some inks? Now, I don't do a lot of inking on my pages these days. It just doesn't seem to fit my mood and feel. But a lot of people love that, and it gives you an awesome contrast. So then you could take this strip and whatever size you wanted, whatever decorative edge you were going to do or not, and then you just ink the edges. So there's another thing. You can ink that, and then you could ink just your strip here for that seam, and then it'll pop. And then how about maybe actually instead of doing ink, how about some paint? Yes, did some paint on the edges. Now this is just a paint dauber, but you could absolutely use a paintbrush and some of your paint. That is just another way to break out our supplies. So what all did we do there with that? Okay, let's just say, okay, so we simply just took a piece of paper, and it's about 1 inch. Just cut it 1 inch, bing, bang, boom, done. Then we took that 1 inch, gave it a fishtail, another look. Yes, I'm going to keep on going. And then we just did a bigger piece of paper. We gave it a decorative edge with our edge punches. That's another option. And then distressing with your tool or your file, however you want to do it. Paper tearing. Absolutely simple. Doesn't take a tool for that. And then we have some paint. And then we have inks. It just doesn't end. No. And then, of course, you know, I'm going to keep going back to that because I love that look, okay? That is a very, very good way not only to play with your tools, but have a fun twist to covering that seam, okay? Now, you know, I was talking about with this happy horizontal is that you simply can go up and down as much as you want, or you can go in a vertical sense and shift it left to right as much as you want. You just can't do it wrong. And then you not only can you do a left page, but you can do a right page. It just fits everybody. I honestly think so. Okay, see there again, all I did was slide that up even more, put that decorative edge up there. Beautiful, beautiful. Come down here, put a big title down here. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, now I have one more thing I'm going to show as far as playing around with this happy horizontal, and then we're going to get into some layout samples. Yes, okay. So one more thing we're going to talk about is playing again with these pieces here. So one thing I want to show is, you know, we had talked about, you know, just using the 6 by 12, cutting them down. Okay, so now with these 6 by 12 pieces, okay, and again, you know, I just showed a huge amount of things you can do with this seam. But with your actual 6 by 12 pieces, whether you cut them down or not, leave them in the 6 by 12, or do a corner rounder or not, or you can do some inking and distressing. Everything I just showed for that seam, you can also do for these 6 by 12 pieces. So you see why this just never gets old, and you could play with it for months and months and months and never have pages that look the same. There's just so many options. So something else I wanted to show, and something I've done, is that this 6 by 12 piece is that you absolutely can do some paper tearing, and especially if you have a double-edged piece of paper that matches what you're going to use on the bottom. And so you simply would just take this paper and then you fold it over. So this is what I'm talking about right here, as a simple little paper tearing, and it exposes your background, and then it also exposes the B-side of your paper. And so there is that. And then what you can do is you can take some liquid glue and you can absolutely glue them down so they're not flopping in the wind if you want to. And how do you do that? Simply one little tear. That's it. One little tear. You can go as wide. I'll do it bigger so you can see. And then you take it and you fold it back. Okay? And keeping your paper, you know, your paper straight there. That is how that is. And that's what it looks like. Okay? And so you can do that with your 6 by 12 papers. Your top or your bottom. And then also too on the bottom, How about giving some, I'll slide this up, how about giving your papers here a decorative edge, just as if you were doing the inseam piece? I mean, how fun is that? Okay, now let's talk about something else if you're going to do some mats, because this is something I do a lot when I do mats, is how about when you're doing that mat, oh, I just love this pink and white together. How about using one of your edge punches on 3 areas? You know, again, can give you that visual triangle, okay? Now, if you want more talk about visual triangles, I will have a video linked below. We get very lengthy about talking about visual triangles here at RTS. And so then you just take that and you punch it in 3 places, you know, to give you a triangle. And then you can take your papers, okay? Look at this. I'm just getting crazy here. Now, of course, I covered that one up, but you get the idea. Okay, and then that's how that would look like if you're doing the happy horizontal. Okay, I have some other here that maybe would be smaller. I'm just using all kinds of papers. Yes. See, just look at that. Oh, love that, love that. Okay. Love that. Of course, I covered that up again. But you see what I'm saying? When you're doing that mat, you can also use your tools and your inking and distressing and also play with the mat. Not just your seam piece and not just your 6x12. You can keep on going. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so I think that is all I wanted to show is the variations with the happy horizontal. You absolutely can't go wrong. No, you just can't go wrong with any of it. No, I just love to keep playing. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going to show one more thing. Okay, I better. Okay, one more thing and then I will stop, because if I don't, this video will be 3 hours long. I do have to stop. Okay, so another thing you can do with your 6x12s is how about keeping one in the original 6x12 and then cutting down the bottom one. Okay, so as you see on this bottom pink, is that I have a decorative edge, but I'm also, this is a different size. This is 6x12. This I cut about 3/4 of an inch off. And so there is the happy horizontal taken to another level where you're using different size papers on the top and the bottom. And then of course, you know, bring out that seam. It just, yes. Now, of course, you know, that goes vertical. Okay, this would be pretty for a 2-page spread. Go with me on this. Okay, this would be your right. Okay, and you could absolutely take this paper here to the inseam. Okay, now that is your right, and then this would be your left page. Is that not a beautiful 2-page? Yes, and what did we do? We took a piece of paper, cut it in half, and then I trimmed a little off of this, gave it a decorative edge, covered up the seam, and now I have a 2-page spread. That is how simple, simple, simple. Again, you could flip it this way too, where you have your smaller on the top, and that 6x12 in the original format on the bottom. We can just keep on going. Okay, but I probably should stop there, because I will just keep on playing, because, you know, it just gets fun. Yes, to keep on playing. Where's that? Yeah, where's that white ribbon? I'm in love with this ribbon. Okay. Yes, I'm in love with that. Yes. And I'll just keep on playing, and I have to stop myself. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So now we will honestly, oh yes, oh how about that? Can't get enough cameras. Oh, love that. Now again, this is washi put on top of cardstock. That's all that is. Another use for your washi. So there we have ribbon, washi on cardstock, and a border sticker all together in a combination with cutting down a 6x12, giving it a decorative edge, and then keeping this 6x12. Yes, and then you can move this up, slide it down, happy horizontal. That is how you do it. Okay, we will come back with some layout samples, and I'm going to show you a few more options with a happy horizontal. Okay, hang on. Now I have quite the stack of layout samples in front of me, and I don't know if we'll get through all of them, we'll see. But what I wanted to show is that with this happy horizontal, it is my go-to design, and that's why I have the most of it, and that's why I have a lot of variations of it, because it is my go-to design, the happy horizontal. So this was the layout I had showed. The happy horizontal in its original format is at a 6x12, 6x12 with a border sticker in the middle. Can't get any quicker than that. And so now, do you really notice that as a design? No, because we play off our photos, we play off our title and embellishments. When you get to the bare bones, that's what it is. It's a top and a bottom with a seam in the middle. That's exactly what it is. So now this one is, you can see that this is bigger than a 6x12 here, and then this is my 6x12 here. I just have it covered up with this matte paper, and then my seam is just a paper strip. I have a paper strip at the top, some washi at the bottom. Simple, simple, bare bones, happy horizontal. Yes. I'm sorry, I keep coughing here. Probably too much talking. Is there such a thing? I guess. So now here is a 2-page, and this is absolutely, the Happy Horizontal is absolutely a quick way to start a 2-page, because you know sometimes a 2-page layout takes energy. So I have, you know, my 6x12 here, 6x12 here, washi tape in the middle, border strip, and more washi at the bottom. And if you take away all my colorful photos and my embellishments and my title, look at this bare bones. It is 6x12, 6x12, 6x12 with a washi tape right there. And of course I have a header up here and a footer down here, but again I just covered up the seams and then gave it a decorative top and a decorative bottom. Again, Happy Horizontal, very, very quick. Now this is another Happy Horizontal where it is wallpapered to my background, which is just a piece of cardstock. And so I have an image up here of these ski lodges, and then down here. So you see that this isn't a 6x12 and a 6x12. This is basically a 9x12 and probably 3x12, something like that. And then for my seams, I just have 2 paper scraps and then added an additional sticker here in the middle. Now I want to show this layout because, you know, Christmas is coming, and this is one of those layouts. I don't have any photos on here, but I definitely have some memories, meaning the writing of my little one, because she's the one that writes out all my gift tags. My husband gets her to write out all these gift tags, and so I wanted to keep her handwriting. So Christmas is coming, keep some of those handwritten tags on our gifts and then create a layout with them. And I have it titled Santa's Little Helper, yes, because she truly is. Now here's another Happy Horizontal that is wallpapered, 6x12 here, a 6x12 down here, and then look what my seam is. My seam is a piece of corrugated paper, probably in about 4 inches, and then of course I just added some washi and more washi. That is how simple. Now this doesn't look like a simple page because of the use of color, but if you go to bare bones, 6x12, 6x12, something over the seam, and that is how quick a Happy Horizontal is. Yes. Now here's another Happy Horizontal where it's not a 6x12 and a 6x12. It is basically a 3x12 and probably a 9x12, and then I trimmed off some of the sides, and then I gave it this corner round at the bottom, which I showed in the video, and then my seam is just a paper scrap. Yes, very, very quick. I love to do this when you have an image up here. So this says General Ledger, and this is floral down here. A very good way to get 2 images in, just like with that ski lodge. It's a really good way to show a piece of pattern paper that has an image. And again with that seam, just a paper scrap. And even though I had cut down my Happy Horizontal here and here, my paper strip I took clear to the edge of the 12x12 piece of cardstock. Very fun to do. Okay, now the next one is again basically what I just showed previously. It is basically maybe 4x12 and an 8x12, and then my seam is covered up with a paper strip and also a border sticker. And then here I just did not do any corner rounding, but you can see that my border sticker and my strip goes to the 12 inches. And again, this gives you a really good place for a lot of journaling and a really good place for a big title if you're doing this Happy Horizontal and you're doing this equator. That's why sometimes it's called the equator, because it has a middle seam. Okay. Now this is another Happy Horizontal where I have probably like an 8x12 and a 3x12 cut down, corner rounded on all 4 sides, and then my middle seam is 3 border stickers just layered on top of one another. Very, very easy. And then this is a good way if you want to have a bold impact of a rich color and then a bold pattern, and then you can pair pattern paper up with some cardstock. Okay, and then I just use some leftovers on those border stickers as decorative elements at the top and the bottom. Okay, now let's talk about the Happy Horizontal in the vertical sense. And so I have a couple, I think 3 or 4. And so this is basically the Happy Horizontal. See, it's just in the vertical sense. And so it's the same thing as that I have like a 3x12, 8x12, some washi tape on top of cardstock. And that is how I covered up my seam. Again, my corner rounder. And so it doesn't look like the same pages, does it? No, but it truly is the same go-to Happy Horizontal design. It's exactly the same thing. It's just now this is in a vertical and this is slid over to the left a little bit. Now on the next page here, it's again the Happy Horizontal, but now I have everything slid over here to the right. And again, I have 2 pieces of paper cut down. My washi is going clear to the edge, and then I use photo corners. Instead of using a corner, you know, my corner rounder, I use photo corners, which I love using photo corners. Again, Happy Horizontal, vertical. And then here's another vertical Happy Horizontal. And so again, I have my papers cut down, photo corners again, and that seam is covered by washi tape. Very, very simple, very, very quick. And again, another happy horizontal in a vertical sense where I have a 6x12 here, a 6x12 here, and I have them cut down. And then not only do I have my seam with paper strips, and then I also have a photo corner here and a photo corner here. Now, if you notice, my photo corners don't match. So when you have those oddballs, do them on purpose. Put an oddball here, put an oddball there. It'll look intentional. Absolutely. Now, here is a 2-page, again, happy horizontal. And you see I have a 6x12, 6x12, and then my seam is more washi tape. Can't get enough of using that washi to cover up that seam. And then I added some additional pattern paper as a decorative element here and also down here. They're just in different widths. So again, a happy horizontal 2-page. I love that. Okay, now here we have another happy horizontal. So 6x12 here, 6x12 here, wallpaper to the back of the cardstock, and then look at my seam in the middle. I have another piece of pattern paper with washi at the top and washi at the bottom of that seam. So I just expanded that seam. Can you see? Yeah. Now, do these look the same? No, they don't. Okay. Now, here's another 2-page. You can tell we spent a lot of time in Amish land. Yes, we do. Okay. Now, here's another 2-page. And it is, again, a 6x12 and a 6x12. And the middle seam is simply a piece of pattern paper. Very, very thin. But it doesn't look like it's a simple 2-page, does it? No, because of the photo and the use of color and embellishments. But the background is just a 6x12. Actually, it's this piece of 12x12 cut in half here. This piece of paper cut in half here and just expanded to make a 2-page. But my background is simply pattern paper with a little thin piece of paper covering up that seam. Very, very simple. But it doesn't look like a simple page. No, absolutely. Okay, now here is another happy horizontal where my seam is up here at the top. And then my top part of my horizontal is absolutely washi on top of cardstock. So when I said, you know, originally you take a piece of paper and cut it in half, but you can absolutely do the happy horizontal in different variations where I'm using a bigger piece of paper at the bottom. My seam is this very thin washi. And then my top part of my happy horizontal is actually washi tape on cardstock. And then I offset it. Okay, now this is part of a 2-page layout. I can't show the other half because, you know, of personal reasons can't show. It has some roommates on there. I don't have permission. And so then again, of course, I have this offset. So even though this doesn't look like a happy horizontal, it really is. It's just that this bottom part is way bigger. My seam is a very, very thin washi, and the top is washi, because you can make your happy horizontal, your 6x12s, you can make them in whatever you want. This is actually made with washi. Love that. Okay, now here's another happy horizontal. Okay, and you can see my bottom part of my design is bigger than my top part. So this is probably like a 3.5 by 4. This is probably about an 8 or a 9. And then I use 2 border stickers to cover up that seam. Very, very simple. Now this has 6 photos on a 1-page spread, and believe me, the background looks very colorful, but it's very simple because what it is, 2 pieces of paper cut down a little bit. I used a corner rounder on all 4, but again, happy horizontal. Okay, I told you I have a lot of this because over the years this is just my go-to design. Absolutely. Again, another happy horizontal, and so then I have this on a decorative pattern paper, and then my top here and bottom here are cut down again using that corner rounder. And now pay attention to my middle seam. What is it? My middle seam is absolutely a bigger piece of paper, and then I offset it with some cut apart cards. So you know we have a lot of those cut apart cards. You can absolutely span them across to cover up that seam along with the washi and the ribbon and the border stickers. And so again, I have a border sticker with a fishtail, and then I just have a sticker here again with another piece of pattern paper, and then anchored off with these 3x4 cut apart. So again, you can be as creative as you want for that seam. Absolutely. Now here's another 2-page happy horizontal, and remember I just said in that other layout that the one part of your horizontal could absolutely be anything you want. So what I did here is I had a challenge. This was part of a load event, and load stands for layout today. I will have information listed below. Is that you needed to pull out your stamps. So my happy horizontal here at the top is absolutely paper, just plain old ivory cardstock, and I stamped all those doilies, okay? So when you're thinking of a happy horizontal, it doesn't just have to be pattern paper. You can make your own happy horizontal 6x12 piece of paper. Here I use stamps and just cardstock, and then down here is my floral pattern, and then my seam is absolutely a piece of paper with washi on top of it. So there's the 2-page again. And then what did I do? I rounded the corners and it's offset. So look at the inseam. They pair up, but over here I have it offset and I have the corner rounder, but I have that seam going clear to the edge. That is, again, a happy horizontal. Now, it took some time to do that stamping, but that's part of having a challenge, okay? Now, this is another happy horizontal, which just looks like that. Is about an 8 and then a 4, and then my seam is again washi over top of cardstock wrapped around, and then I have these 4 corner rounders, okay? I love doing that with a happy horizontal. That's another one, okay? Oh, this is a 2-page. There we go. So there we go. Now with this 2-page, you'll notice that in my inseam, I didn't bring them into the inseam. It just looks like 2 separate layouts. And sometimes I'll do that, and sometimes I'll marry them together. It depends on what I'm going for, okay? So again, happy horizontal on top of this pattern, this grid pattern paper. Love that. Love, love. Okay, now here is another design in the happy horizontal where I have about a 3/4 piece at the top with a decorative edge here. Okay, took my edge punch, and then down here's a piece of paper, and in the middle I took my washi and I wrapped it around the entire layout. Okay, I didn't go to my mat because see, I have my happy horizontal offset down a tad on a mat and then my washi wrapped around the whole cardstock. So you just cannot get enough of this happy horizontal. There's so many variations. Okay, now I have a couple more where we're going to take the happy horizontal, I think, and we're going to do something else with it. Okay, so with the happy horizontal, once you start playing with ones I just showed, and where you move it up and down, you move it left and right, and then you start playing with that inseam, and then you start offsetting, and then you start adding the mats. Then you can start, after you play with all that, you can even play even more. Where this is a happy horizontal, but you notice that my top part of my horizontal, I really got embellished. And what did I do? I took pattern paper, I stamped on it, border stickers, I used corrugated paper, then I used felt ribbon, and then I added stickers and wood veneer and enamel dots. And this is taking the happy horizontal to the next level. Yes, this is blinging it up. Yes, what is that called when you're pimping your ride? Yes, that's what we're doing. We're taking our happy horizontal and we're pimping our ride. That's what we're doing. And so again, you can see with my happy horizontal here at the top, because my seam is this blue floral and the bottom of my horizontal is this wood grain. And then up here with my top part of my happy horizontal, yeah, we blinged it out, baby. Yes, we got it all going on. So you can keep doing that. Once you start playing with this happy horizontal go-to design, you won't stop playing with it. No, because I really added stamping and border stickers and corrugated paper and felt ribbon and then wood veneer and enamel dots on top of all of that horizontal. Okay. Now here's the happy horizontal, but guess what we did? We did it on a diagonal sense, okay? Now I sometimes don't get into a lot of diagonal pages, but it certainly is fun sometimes when you want to do something different. So this is my happy horizontal, okay? But now look at my seam. It is huge, okay? My seam. But this is basically a happy horizontal. It's just now you noticing the seam, not the top or the bottom. But this is really a happy horizontal. It's just now it's on a diagonal and my seam takes over. It's much, much bigger. Yes, that's a happy horizontal on a diagonal, okay? Now here's another happy horizontal all blinged up. And so here is my top and my bottom. There is my seam. And then it's offset. And then there's the rounded corners. And then look what I did at the bottom. I gave a decorative bottom piece and I expanded it the whole way to the end, okay? To the edge of the paper. So that is taking a happy horizontal and then I'm offsetting it, added quarter rounders, and then I took all these butterflies because I had to do with the story, and then I just spanned that across, okay? Now this is a little bit more detailed than I get into nowadays, but certainly pretty at the time. So another variation of the happy horizontal. Now another horizontal, happy horizontal is what I have is I have this 6x12 in the top and 6 by 12 on the bottom, and then I have a cut down, and of course photo corners. And then look at my seam. What did I use? I used a very wide pumpkin ribbon to cover up that seam, and I expanded the whole way around my entire layout, okay? And then at the bottom, what did I do? I added a border sticker at the top, added some washi. So that is the happy horizontal too. And then let's do some more happy horizontal. I honestly pulled out more layouts, but I really probably can't show them all. The video would be too long. But the happy horizontal is just something I've used for years, and it's just my favorite go-to, because you can clearly see none of those layouts look the same, but when you get to the bare bones, it's all the same. Now that's amazing. Absolutely. So again, this is using a pattern cardstock as my base, and then look at my happy horizontal. So forget my photos, forget my embellishments, and my cute little handwritten note for my little one. Okay, which, isn't it sweet? It says, I may not be your little girl anymore, but I will always be your daughter. Oh yes, tug at the heart. Okay, so my happy horizontal at the very basic is this polka dot at the top, this turquoise at the bottom, okay, and then what do I have for my middle seam? I have a piece of paper used as a, and I cut it down to the fishtail, and then I have ribbon on top of that, lace ribbon even, and then I have it offset, and then I use my corner rounder on 2 of these, and then I have a mat. Okay, can you see that mat? Okay, and that is all a happy horizontal put on a mat and then put on a piece of pattern cardstock. I mean, yes, that is taking it to the next level. So no matter where you're starting in your scrapbooking process, the happy horizontal can be as simple or as complex as you want to be. Honestly, it just never gets old, and I don't think I will ever go to another go-to design like I do the happy horizontal. Okay, now I hope the video did not get too long, but that's okay, right? We're not going to apologize for that. And so then what we will have coming up tomorrow is we're going to do a start to finish layout using the happy horizontal go-to design. That's exactly what we're going to do. And I don't know what for layout I'm going to do just yet, but we're going to see where the load prompt takes me. Okay, and so that is our go-to design, happy horizontal. Yes, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got some ideas. I know I'm excited, and I'm just the one sitting here playing with paper. So I hope you enjoyed this first go-to design. The next one we're going to talk about is the grid design, and that'll be in a few days. But up tomorrow will be a start to finish, and we're going to keep on playing with this happy horizontal. So again, grab some more paper and some pattern paper and come along for the ride. Okay, that's all I have for today at RTS. So come back. You never know what we're going to learn. Bye.